the March 25th regular meeting of the Milton School Board. My name is Douglas Shute. I'm the chair of Milton School Board. I'm coming to you from the new high school library room next to the principal's office. As the result of the state of emergency due to COVID-19 declared by the governor on March 13th and its subsequent orders numbers 12 and 16 on the right to know law and the banning meetings of 10 or more people respectively, and after consultation with the superintendent and the district council, and as chair of the board determined that in accordance with the right to know law, the physical presence of a quorum in the school board in this health and emergency crisis is not reasonably practical. I therefore have authorized the participation of board members at this meeting of the Milton School Board remotely viewed through Zoom. Okay. Now the other thing, the following board members that are participating remotely was Melissa Brown, Peg Hurd, Emily Meehan, Paul Steer, and myself, Doug Shute. Okay. Also joining us remotely is Superintendent Earl Sussman, Nate Castle, Business Administrator of SAU 64, Tammy Crandall, Secretary, Robert Adams, Facilities Director, Robert Quast, Special Ed Director, Jan Radovitz, High School Middle School Principal, John Safina, MS Principal, Tim Eldridge, School Bus Coordinator, Chris Farrell from Fresh Pick Cafe, and Steve Gagnon from Back Bay. Okay, where am I? I'm lost my place. A method to observe and listen to this public meeting of the board is included in the meeting notice. The meeting location for the board meeting can be assessed by the public at the library community room at the new middle high school library. Members of the public who attend the meeting shall be able to hear all discussions of the board by way of a laptop and TV screen. During tonight's meeting, only board members and the administrative team will be allowed to speak. If the public has any questions or comments, please forward them to Douglas Shute at sa64.org via email. So we can make sure that all the board members can hear. Well, we don't have to do that. That's for the roll call. I'll read it again. So we can make sure all the board members can be heard by each of them. I will call the roll call of each member participating remotely. When I call your name, please notify yourself, state of the, and for the record, who is with you when you're remote location. I will ask our administrators and staff who previously identified to do the same. You want me to do that again? Yeah. Roll call? Okay.
He said yes.
Okay, all right. Myself, I'm alone. Melissa Brown?
Here.
Okay, Peg Hurd?
Hi, alone.
Emily Meehan?
I'm here and I'm alone.
Okay, Paul Steer?
Oh, he must
Here.
have.
Yeah, okay, all right. Nate Castle?
Here, and I'm alone.
Tammy Crandall?
I'm here and I'm alone.
Earl Sussman?
All alone am I.
Robert Adams?
Here alone in my room.
Robert Clark?
I'm here and I'm on my own.
Jan Radovitz, high school principal?
Oops.
Still on mute too.
Oh, she gone mute.
Yeah.
I'm here, and you know my cat go behind me.
Okay. John Sabina, MS principal?
I'm here, I'm alone.
Thank you. Tim Eldridge, bus coordinator?
Signed off.
Signed off, okay.
He's
Chris Farrell, Fresh Pick, I think.
He signed off too.
Okay. And Steve Gagnon?
I'm here and I'm alone.
Okay.
Made a decision as to extending it beyond April 3rd in terms of remote learning. The presumption is that during the course of this week, we will be informed, at which time we will inform all of you as to what is going on. And the event it is, we do not return the 6th. The likelihood is that it would extend, and the likelihood it would be right after vacation. But we will announce, as soon as we hear from them, the commissioner, spoke to us today. He will be speaking to us again before the end of the week, but they will make their move based upon everything else going on and the reports that they get. Right now, everybody received the written report of the update of the entire administrative team. It will be online so that you could all see it. At this point, we have had untold unsung heroes. We'd like to commend them all, and as you are well aware, remote learning in New Hampshire has been said is one of the 2 states that is doing very well. Commendations to everyone that has stepped up and done a phenomenal job. There is untold phone calls, communications going all day. In fact, I don't have much left on my cell phone, and I hope I can make it through this whole Zoom. At this point, we will go briefly through the staff to give you a synopsis. I will start out with John Safina of MES. John?
Thank you, Earl. Did the board receive a copy of this, the report that you had sent earlier, Earl?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So,
also we're going to post it.
okay,
I already did.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so this, basically what's been going on, I mean, they've been doing some phenomenal work with the remote learning part. The numbers on this, what you got, we kind of sent our reports in, and so there are some, you may say, what's page 3 and 4? That doesn't make sense. So the report I sent in, part of it, what I did want you to see, and if it's okay, Earl, I'll send this page to the board later.
Absolutely.
This is Donna Hull's website, and this is what sent in all the bags to the with the families, and it had all the Google Classrooms that connected to it. All the students have their laptops. They've been working very hard. They've been working hard since day one, which was really great. And I have been added as a teacher to all the classrooms. So I have to sometimes shut down my notifications, because anytime a student either completes an assignment or asks a question, so forth, I was getting them for every single classroom. But it was really good to see the responses from the students and the work that they were doing. And I'm going to send you along this. This wasn't part of the board report I sent earlier. It's just a collage of some of the comments that I thought were really great. The top 3 comments were students asking real valid questions and interactions with the staff. We have our librarian doing a bedtime story for all the students every night at 7 o'clock. It's on YouTube. The kindergarten teachers and every teacher basically has some sort of kind of online connection with the kids. This is Mrs. Everett doing a lesson remotely, meeting with the kids. All the kids join. So there's been a lot of that going on. And also the one right in the middle, that little remark, if they pass something in late, they get a, whoop, this was passed in so many hours late. So it's really been great to see, and seeing the interaction of the students. So there is a benefit. It's really sad not having them in the building, but the seeing the interactions and the questions being asked by the students and the teachers, and them really, really wanting to be engaged with work has been really great to see. One of the things that was on the board report was one comment by a student, like on the first or second day, and I had it on the top, and it was just basically saying, I'm wondering if you could send a copy of our normal day schedule to my mom so I can make my day just like a normal school day. So I've been very pleased with it. I think the staff did a phenomenal job. They really did. We sent our last computer home today, and all the bags have been picked up.
Thank you, John. The important thing, like we said at the beginning, is the relationships, the redesign of the school now has linked the parent and the student and the school. And this will forever mold the relationship that we've tried. And the silver lining is that this will be a bond that we will forever have, will also enhance learning. At this point, I'll turn it over to Jan of New Middle High School. Jan, please.
Yep, ours is very similar. All the teachers created a Google Classroom and invited the students, and once they joined, then the parents also got an invite. Jen and I are co-teachers of all of the classrooms, but we're not posting anything. We're just able to check in. Additionally, case managers and paraprofessionals that are working with students in that class have also joined the class, so they're able to see all the assignments to help support the students. Jen and I are meeting with each of our teachers face-to-face on Google Hangouts or Zoom once a week. We've met with 15 so far this week. They said they spent Monday and Tuesday answering a lot of questions, how-tos, how do I use the platform? How do I submit an assignment? That sort of thing. But they were getting to the content today. Almost all of the students are participating. When we call, our attendance, kids aren't checking in, we call for attendance. And there's only one parent who said they're struggling trying to get their child to do the work. Teachers' feedback is that kids who sometimes struggle doing the work in class are posting the work. And last week when they were posting missing assignments, kids were already submitting missing assignments. So far that's been good. We've issued 29 Chromebooks. We still have one left to be picked up. The lockers are 100% empty, and the custodians are working on cleaning and sanitizing those every day. The teachers are practicing using Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic so that they're able to do presentations of information with the students. And some of them are also doing Google Hangouts with the students. Special ed are doing some one-on-one Google Hangouts to talk with and support other kids, and some teachers are doing small group ones as well. So far we feel like it's going really well. The only real question some teachers have, especially like math teachers, is the assessments, how to accurately assess kids' progress online. But other than that, everything looks like it's going really well.
Thank you very much. At this point, part of the success, a good part of the success also of the remote learning, I should say, Jan, Christy, John, Jen, all of the guidance and so forth, they've been unbelievable. They've been there for every parent concerned, and also to bring food when they needed to, and they've gone way, way beyond. At this point, I can't thank our lifeline, Steve Gagnon. He has been with us from Back Bay in Brandon every inch of the way. We could have never done this without them. At this point, I'll have Steve Gagnon give us a brief update.
Thank you. As of now, we do have, I believe, a total of 70 Chromebooks that have been allocated, and I know that we're expected to receive 25 more by the end of the week. In addition to that, we have the remote meeting set up, which is what we're doing now, and the support that Brandon has given the staff for remote learning has been instrumental in making all of that happen. So that's a great piece that he's been able to pull together for them, and the support that he's provided as well. I did receive the licensing for the form fill software today, so we can start distributing that to the staff that need it. And we have received the 20 hotspots today as well, so those are available and can be, I can leave them wherever you'd like if you want me to leave them at the office or keep them with me until we determine if they're needed. But we do have those at this point as well. So I think as far as that goes, that kind of summarizes where we're at and what we have for technology out there. And I think we're just going to keep supporting as we go. I know Brandon's still on site until there isn't adequate staff here for him to be here. He can support from remote, but until then, he's still on site helping and doing what he needs to do.
I want to thank you, Steve. I think if you get one more call from me, you're going to freak out. But
no problem.
I can't thank you enough.
Yep.
Next, one of the main things we have for students, the essentials, is food. And this has been dynamic. All of you are aware of the role that Fresh Picks has done, that our parents have done, and our bus drivers have done. At this point, also too, behind the scenes, Chris Farrow has spent incredible amount of time making that triumvirate between us in order for all of the work to go to the state. He's redone this every day, time after time, with us and 3 or 4 other schools. And Nate Castle has worked with him. We have sent out, we will have sent out this week 840 things of food for the kids. We will have averaged this week 275 a day. This is up from last week. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Farrow and then Nate, and they will inform you as to how the connections, we've closed the dots. Chris?
Hi. Yep. Thanks. And Earl gave a good chunk of my update right there. As he said, we're up to about 275 meals a day on average, or 275 students worth of service. Earlier this week, we ran around, got a lot of the paperwork in order, which Stratford County CAP, who you're partnering with, is now filing with the state and getting that all straightened out. And we're just going along. From reports I've gotten from Mary, things have smoothed out a little bit the first couple of days. As we talked about, we're going to be kind of a little bit of guesswork as we worked out the numbers, but they've kind of figured out which buses need which number of meals and all of that, and gotten that more or less straight. So that's pretty well straightened out.
Thank you, Chris. Tim, a word or two as far as buses go.
Yeah, as far as the buses, everything's running great. I couldn't say enough good things about the bus drivers, the paras, and even Mary and her staff. They have been fantastic through this all. Last week we had a little hiccup, as Chris talked about, with the number of foods, but it was just a guessing game in the beginning. And I think we've got that narrowed down and straightened out. So it's going good. Special ed started this week, bringing those students in that require the services, and it's all good.
Thank you, Tim. Extraordinary work. Nate, can you speak a little bit about the forms that you had to do?
Yeah, we had to jump through some hoops for the state. Really, it was Chris that did all the work. He wrote up the contracts, and I signed them and I sent them in. But basically, it was a minor addendum to our contract with
They both did an extensive amount of work on this. At this point, Rob Qua, who has done just an amazing job with the paras and also made the connections with all students that need help. Rob, I'll turn things over to you.
That is way too much credit for me, Earl. I've been absolutely thrilled with the performance of the case managers, the paraprofessionals, and how they've been able to work together with every other person, staff member, department, everything. It's been going really, really quite well. The case managers are coming up with really creative ways of reaching the kids. The kids are responding. They're setting up times to meet remotely, face-to-face, via Google Hangouts or other tools. The case managers in both buildings are plugged into all of the classes where all of their kids are doing their work. They're providing services through activities they're sending home. They're providing services through that face-to-face and email and telephone communication. They're really being extremely creative in how they're reaching out, and the kids, like I said, are responding, which is great. We've got a vast proportion of our students, I feel like, getting their needs met, and we're working very, very hard to close the gap on those few that remain that we haven't really quite been able to lock down and make sure they've got everything. as far as the paraprofessionals, you called them unsung heroes earlier, and you're absolutely correct. I keep asking more of them, and they keep doing it. You know, become part of all these classes. Yes, reach out to all these kids. Yes, get on a bus and hand out food. Yes, get to the CAF early and help bag the food before you hand it out. Yes, everybody has been extraordinarily cooperative, extraordinarily flexible, has worked extraordinarily hard, and it is really paying off. Everything is moving very, very smoothly, and it is thanks to all of those efforts. So, excuse me. So yeah, the paraprofessionals are like the case managers, plugged into all those classes, so they're supporting students as well. But like I just described, they're everywhere. They're doing that community outreach for us as well, and really making that go. Yeah. So, like I said, I think it's been a real excellent, seamless team effort, and I'm extremely happy with where we are. I can't take any of the credit. The case managers and paraprofessionals have done an outstanding job, and I feel like we're going to make this boat float.
I think thank you, Rob. It's an unprecedented time. We've redone the whole school, and this is just an amazing team and staff. And this is an unheralded time. We're changing gears on a dime, and we're going to be ready to change gears. As I long said as a coach, I did score a basket. And believe me, it's this team and this staff and these parents and this school board that has made this happen. You know, before I get a tear in my eye, I can't thank you all enough. Thank you.
Do you want Bob Adams to speak?
Yes, he's keeping everything clean. Bob?
That is true. Yeah, last week, the custodians started cleaning the whole building, and that's deep cleaning. That's typical of the type of work that we would get into during the summer. So we focused on cleaning all the student desks, chairs, walls, doors, door jambs, lockers, everything that's really a touch surface is our main objective. We started all the way back on a week ago, Monday, so it would have been all the way last week. And we still had all the teachers on board, so we're working around them and backtracked. And now, like we were talking about tonight, we have very limited staff in the building now. And so that's working out good. We're continuing that progress. And we will continue to work through that, which would take a good another week and a half in order to get that first pass of cleaning done that we want to accomplish. Having done that, then all our surfaces are clean. So if we need to look at having controlled access, go into a longer extended learning mode, where we need to have teachers, professionals come in, paraprofessionals come in and collect other things in order to help all of our kiddos, and we'll actually do that through a controlled process, and we'll touch up and disinfect behind them and as they leave the building. So we'll be in good shape, I believe, about a week and a half out from now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does any board members have any questions for anybody?
Yeah, this is Paul.
Go ahead.
I think I said it the last time too. It's incredible how everybody's come together, and you know, we're the town of Milton, but we're working like the city of Manchester to get all this stuff done. I think we're ahead of 90% of the other towns in the state, and it's kudos to everybody that went out of their way to do this. I mean, Doug, I think you're working 18-hour days along with these people to do all this. So I appreciate everybody's hard work, and we're going to get through it together. And you know, like I said, thank you all, and it's amazing what you guys are doing. It's an incredible job.
It's just my job. Peg?
Yeah, I just had a quick question regarding the, whatever it's called, from Atlantic Broadband for people who didn't have internet. And you mentioned, Steve, that you would the hotspot. Has anything happened with that? Has anybody contacted them? Do you know?
Atlantic Broadband, I thought that they actually reached out, and those people that didn't have the internet or able to get the internet, but it's only people that have not signed up with them before.
Right. So maybe Jan,
have had a couple parents reach out to them, and they now have internet available through Atlantic Broadband. We do need one hotspot, though, for a family that's not able to get it through them.
Okay, all right, just wanted to check up and follow up. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions on the board before we move on?
Me.
Go ahead.
I just want to do a shout out again to Miss Lori. I know I put it on Facebook, but she went door to door, making sure everybody in the Milton Mills had food. And I think, Tim, you should be really proud of your bus drivers.
Emily, you're the only one that hasn't spoken.
I'm obviously really impressed with how well things have come together, and I am homeschooling or remote learning 5 school-age kids, soon to be 7 school-age kids. So I'm definitely, seeing all the hard work of the teachers and seeing how available they are for students, and I'm really impressed. I do want to touch on something maybe that Earl said about how this situation has really required us to be really creative and really resourceful. And just now that we're looking at realistically, I think we all know this is going to go on longer. And now we've had a little bit of time to absorb it. We've got families set up with computers and internet, just really to that as we're moving forward, if it is going to be significantly longer, we could really work to be even more creative in how we have the kids doing school at home. And I'll just give an example, because I have so many kids, it's difficult to engage in real learning for things like science and social studies because they're all doing something different. Previously, I was a homeschooler. You didn't do all different science and social studies. You all did the same thing together at different learning levels. And so just sort of wanting to put a plug in that maybe as we move forward, particularly for the younger grades, where they need a lot more interaction with the adults in the home, because I know I'm not the only person with a lot of kids, or maybe like we have a lot of parents who are they're home with their kids, but they're working from home. So just trying to make sure we consider that as we continue to send work home. So
I have found that my Cameron will not call or talk to anybody. I had to call and I had to email the teacher and say, hey, he's having a problem with this, but he's not reaching out to you. I'm finding it starting to get a little bit more difficult for me because I am working at home and I'm trying to make sure Tyler can do anything anyways. I don't have to worry about him, but I am having a little bit of a difficult time, but.
Yeah. So yeah, not at all. I really appreciate what teachers have done, and I think it's good. I just think now that we know, and a lot of that immediate stuff is sort of figured out, how do I use Google Classroom and what sort of things that we can maybe push ourselves to be even more creative for our students. And I think it's really important. Like, I've been communicating with a lot of parents who come and ask me things or talk about things. I say, feedback. The schools need feedback. We need to know what's working and what isn't working, and how we might be able to help, especially because realistically, I think we know we're all in this for longer than we thought.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
We all set? Can we move on?
Yes.
Sure.
We'll move on to number 3, school board business, and that's the fire alarm system bid results. Now, who wants to start it?
Do you want me to start it, and then I'll call on Bob Adams?
There's a lot of questions. Go ahead.
I did look over the bids and had quite a few questions, which I sent off to Bob, and he very nicely replied back. So take it away, Bob. And you know the first one that's the most important answer, correct?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the process a little bit, and go back to last December, and I'll move along through this rather quickly. But we partnered with SC Engineering, and we have 2 members of that company here tonight, Jeff Murphy and Todd Sullivan. They've helped us through the process to be able to create a bid package. After doing a site review, we were able to do a bid walk during the February vacation when the school was out. We had 9 companies actually come in and walk through both of the 2 buildings, and we ultimately got 2 bids out of that process. I would have liked more from that. We certainly all would have liked more responses out of that, but it's certainly not uncommon. Companies look at what they have for resources and timing of when work needs to be done. They also look at whether, what type of work needs to be done. In our case, we're reusing a lot of the building wire, and we're connecting to that. Some companies, maybe 1 or 2 of these companies backed off and didn't bid because they used to do new installs. So this is where we're at this point in time. We have 2 bids. If we go all the way back to early last fall, when we had looked at doing this work, we weren't sure at that point in time whether or not we would actually do a full installation in parallel, which would have meant that we wouldn't have reused our wiring. And at that point in time, what we had done is we had updated our capital improvement plan and had looked at potentially having a project that would be, $300,000 or more. As we looked at the infrastructure that we did have, i.e. all of the wiring that we do have, which is successfully passed tests that we do every summer to requalify the whole system, we're able then to go out to bid and with the intention of reusing all of the building wiring. So the design work included not only doing that, but looking at what we needed to do in order to bring the 2 fire alarms up to current code, because some of us are familiar with the fact that the buildings have literally grown over time. So there's multiple sections. So each one of those projects were done to meet code at that time. This project brings the code, brings both buildings up to meet current code. And that's why we needed the engineering help with all of that. So the 2 bids that we did get, we're very fortunate the way it all worked out. With the engineering company, SFC, we had estimated that we probably would be in the bid range for buildings to be around $100,000. And we come back with 2 bids that were well under that, remarkably so. So we're very pleased with the bid results. I wanted to say that we had questions that we wanted to do to follow up with the 2 bidders, the 2 companies, and SFC helped us through all of those intimate details in order to get everything cleaned up to get the final bid dollars. And that's what was the package that we were able to send out to the board this afternoon. So I can answer some questions, and if I can't, I have both Jeff Murphy and Todd Sullivan that can certainly help us out in that regard.
Does anybody have any questions other than Peg? Go, Peg.
You really did answer. I mean, I did send to the board what my questions were, and I do have to say my first surprise was for the prices that I saw in the bids. I thought we were still in the engineering phase, but nice prices for the actual installation and doing both buildings. The one question that you did not answer for me, Bob, that was curious is a scissor lift. Do we have one?
No.
Okay, so we'd have to pay the, whatever it was, 600
per
600
week.
a week? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple of incremental costs to follow up on one source security, and that was halfway down the front page there. Mentioned $600 a week, and we had requested that it would be plenum wiring, and I recommend that we do that because it's really mixed some low areas in the building, you wouldn't need the plenum, but any additional wiring that we're doing to meet code, we should do plenum wiring. It's a lot cleaner to use. The idea of plenum wiring helps us with the fire code piece. Okay.
No, you did answer that.
Plenum?
Thank you. The other thing was
Plenum
trash
wiring.
removal.
Hold on, Peg. What did you say? Bob, did you say plenum?
PLENUM.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, you did. Trash removal, because that was a concern that we did not want to use our own, and one of the companies said that we had to. Has that been resolved?
And the bid package requested that companies provided their own container. We're certainly in the mode right now where we don't need to do that. I have room in our trash bin.
Okay.
And all our trash right now is on a will call basis. No trash pickup is happening unless I call them. So that's saving us some money there. So if we use our own trash, we can segregate electronics that we need to, and we can do that through our electronic recycle through our local landfill, and that saves us some money.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you, Bob. I think you answered everything else that was in there, and I'm all set.
Now, there's the board, what Peg said, the board realizes we've saved a lot of money here. So technically, we did not need, and well, I'll let it go for now. We can proceed with these two projects. We have the money right now to do both. So I don't know what the board wants to do.
Hey, Doug,
You have-
Doug, I
Go
have a
ahead.
quick question. So I know you said we got 2 bids back. I just want to say, like, and I think they both, I don't know if they're both listening or not, but as far as support goes, if something were to go wrong, how is the support from the 2 different companies as far as their ability to travel out and take care of it in a timely manner and things along that line? I'm assuming this is pretty black and white, but I just want to make sure, you know, that part of it's covered as well. You know, they look pretty close bid-wise. Is the service the same?
The intimate service that we do have in Milton is with One Source Security. They've been working with us for several years, and we've had good response from them. They were involved in our security project upgrade that we did for hardening all of the doors and monitoring all the doors in the building. So they actually have the advantage over the other that are BK systems because they're very familiar with our building. They've literally been probably in all of the spaces that they would have to go in order to do this work. They're very familiar with the building.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Peg?
Just to add that I did check both companies out, and they're both listed on Better Business Bureau with no complaints, but also no recommendations or anything. So from that perspective, they appear to be very equal.
So Bob, do you have a recommendation?
I do have a recommendation to go with One Source Security. As we have in the past, I also recommend that we look at a little bit of contingency money within that too. So if you were to look at moving that tonight, we should consider adding some contingency fund in there. In case it's something that, you know, I didn't know about, or, you know, the help from the engineering, from SFC doesn't know about. Jeff might be able to help us with this element of it, but I do suggest we consider a little contingency money on top of what you see.
How much were you considering?
Wait a minute. Jeff, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Bob's comments. If you remember, I think back in the fall, we had a conversation about how much of a design work was needed and whether or not we wanted to spend a lot of money on a detailed design. And I think we've shown through Bob's discussions today that, you know, you folks made the right decision to kind of simplify the design and get somebody on board quickly. But if you remember what we talked about, there are some more potentials because we didn't do a full design. So I would just like to echo, given where the prices came in and where we had originally budgeted, that you do include a contingency just in case there's any surprises. Hopefully we give it back to you, but I'd rather not get in a position where we're trying to finish and trying to work back with you guys.
Anybody
Thanks.
have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, what do you think the rough estimate of that contingency fund would be as far as value?
I usually recommend a 20% number.
All right, thank you.
So that would be 20% above and beyond your estimate? Or whoever we go with?
That's just my opinion. Ultimately, I mean, Bob knows your bidding environment more up there and has done a lot of projects for the school, so I don't want to step on his toes, but that's kind of my off-the-cuff answer for a standard of care.
Okay, well, I promise we're definitely going to have the money, so that's not an issue. It's up to the which company they want to go with. So,
I'd like to go on Bob's recommendation.
is that your motion, Paul?
I'll make that motion, yes. So
I'll
moved.
second it.
That we go with One Source Security and Automation Incorporated? Is that right?
So moved. Yep.
Okay, do we have, well,
And I seconded.
Yeah, okay, no, let me put Peg and Paul. No, okay, you moved it, all right. But I gotta find you here. Peg? Yes or no? Peg, yes?
Yes.
Okay, I gotta find the other one. You're all over the place here. Emily?
Aye. Yes.
Melissa?
Aye.
Paul, you're on the bottom here.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm last, aye. So we're done. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I think we did a wonderful job.
So
No.
we still have to,
I don't think they were doing that today.
oh, okay. I heard that earlier.
No,
Next
I
up.
think Nate has a question. Nate?
Yeah, sorry. Did I miss, did you approve the contingency fund of 20% as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna put that on, we'll put that calendar on the 8th.
April.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else want anything else on the 8th? Because we got several things we have to get done, but I don't know.
Well, if we can move the bid for the iron for the girders for the scoreboard would be nice.
Okay. Think we can do that, Earl?
Oh, we might have lost it.
We will check.
Oh, there he is.
All right. Anybody? And I think we have contracts and stuff to deal with also, so.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're at that moment by motion. Anybody have anything else? Well, technically, it's not on the agenda, but need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Emily did it, okay. Aye,
Aye.
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 so we all did it, okay. I saw everybody do it. Roll call. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. I don't know how.
Have a good evening.